I know you think I just pull the van of white and go over and turn the letter and then we're done, but that's not what's happening here. As the job changes, I have to shift. Whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I want to write like an expose one day about what it is to be an agent because even in trying to share it on a show, people still think it's like you just do your hair really great and your makeup and you just turn the door and you're like, oh, there's the living room. How that'll be $50,000.
Right. Today's episode is sponsored by TurboTenant, the all-in-one property management software that helps landlords and real estate investors run their rentals smarter, not harder. With TurboTenant, you can advertise your rental, screen tenants, create leases, track maintenance, and collect rent online, anytime, anywhere, all from one easy dashboard. Trusted by over 800,000 landlords across the country, including me. TurboTenant is affordable, easy to use, and you can start for free, whether you have one property or 100. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of Glennda's Guru. My name is Glennda Baker. I am a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia, and today I am joined by Tricia Lee from the Serhant team and Owning Manhattan. I am so excited to jump into our conversation. Tricia, welcome to Glennda's Guru.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I am thrilled for you to be here as well. So let me ask you a question. For the audience, the people living under a rock that doesn't know you, tell me a little bit about you and how you kind of, took the real estate world by storm. I'm excited to kind of get to know you a little bit better.
Oh yeah, sure. I've always been a fan of real estate, but I'm a beauty girl through and through. Like there is no product, service, innovation that I'm not aware of. It is what I do in my spare time and all my time. I'm just have always been in beauty, and I was in the process of running my own beauty brand. I did that for 10 years, and I had really chic nail bars. They were called Polish Bar, and I was doing that in my community in downtown Brooklyn where I lived, and I had a few locations. And I really started to catch on very early on in that endeavor that, as I like to say, the only people that were making money were the people that owned the buildings. I was like, yeah, we're here and we're like slinging these services and hamburgers and dinners, whatever you want to call it. But it's the landlords and the realtors that are really making the money around here. And so in running my beauty business, I just was so curious about what skills I had in beauty that could really be utilized in brokerage. And I had a best friend that was and still is a bomb woman developer. That's the business that she grew up around. Her parents were really into real estate, and that's all in the DC area. But when we became friends 20 years ago, she's like in her 20s building properties, and this is my best friend, so it's around me all the time, but I'm still very much a beauty girl. And something about the recession in 08, 09 showed me that real estate people were the most impacted by that financial downfall, but I found that all of you recovered faster than everyone else. And that a light bulb went off for me, and I was like, I can sell anything. I can negotiate myself into any situation I want. So I just need to learn how to sell a home. I just need to learn that process. But everything else that it seems that real estate agents were doing, I knew how to market. I knew how to sell. I knew about brand building. And I knew operations. So I just said, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to do it. And that was the beginning of it. But it was really my best friend that was like, you need to be in real estate. I don't know what you're doing in beauty. You are a realtor. And she would say that to me pretty much every day for like the first 8 years of our relationship.
That's so interesting to me. So you owned the beauty bars, but
Yes.
were you also the creative genius behind the business? It was your concept. It was so
Everything.
that is so interesting because typically, and I can say this because I am an expressive analytical. I am an artist and an operator, and only 9% of the population carries that trait. But it sounds like that might be you as well.
For sure. For sure. Like I love everything about branding, imaging. Like that was the best part about building my Polish Bar brand. My brand did really well because it was one location, but it presented as a franchise. And so immediately people are like, well, where are the other locations? And so I'm 30 years old. I'm opening multiple locations. I ended up with a staff of 18, two and a half standing locations in the first 3 years. But I was the brain behind everything from the branding, the name, polish choices, the service choices. I wrote my services. I drafted out my first floor plan, like literally on just like a piece of like construction paper. I wrote my logo on a McDonald's napkin. Like everything about the business was, it just came out of here. And I love that part of, I guess that's why I'm drawn to beauty, is I love that creative process. And it releases a lot that I feel that I need to release of just expression. So I created a business and a brand around this model muse, if you will, of who I thought my customer would be. And I decided where she worked, where she lived, what she spent money on, what her interests were. Like I literally had this muse that I had written out. And 4 years into my business, I met her, Karen Swoops. I'll never forget. We became friends, but she was literally the ideal customer that I'd built the business around. And I was very specific. I could tell you like what they spent on rent. I could tell you what they spent on mortgage. I knew everything about this woman, and I was trying to satisfy her beauty needs in every way. So I offered services I felt that she would be into, at the quality that she would want it at the hygiene standard that she would want it at, the feeling of her bringing her friends and her girlfriends and her family to my salon. I thought about that, what that would feel like. I had nostalgic music playing in the background. The books I had in our library were very specific to self-motivation and women loving on women. Like it was just a big girls experience.
I
you
love
know?
it. So
Yeah.
you said a couple of things that are super interesting to me. Well, you said a lot of things that were super interesting to me, but there were a couple of things that I want to kind of highlight for our audience. And that is number one, you started with your avatar in mind. You were very clear on who was your client, who was your customer, who was your audience, and you really catered and tailored your business for that client. So
Yes.
stop the presses right now, ladies and gentlemen. Like, listen closely. No matter what business you're in, you need to understand who is your client, who is your customer, who is your audience, because that's where the science of any business starts. The second thing
Absolutely.
that you said was you said you were 30 when you were in this business. I'm thinking that you look 28. So that's like a negative too. So when you obviously also found the fountain of youth and how to stop aging, because I I literally thought you were 30.
I wish. No, I don't. I do come from a family of people that everyone misages us. Like when I'm with my grandmother, people would think I would be with my mom. you know, every no,
Wow.
I still get carded sometimes, and I'm always like, I'm old enough to be your parent. Please move away from me with
Yeah, I love
but I
it.
love, again, I've been interested and obsessed with beauty products as long as I can remember. I mean, I used to get in trouble in fourth grade for like taking my mom's Christian Dior eyeshadow palettes to school and doing makeup applications in the bathroom. Like
Oh my,
literally got suspended for doing that. Not because I was doing it, but because I lied and said my mom was okay with it.
yeah, she probably wasn't okay with you taking the Christian Dior palette. So talk to me a little bit about Brooklyn. Like it,
Sure.
so maybe let me rephrase it. Where is your book of business, or were you raised in Brooklyn? Is your book of business Brooklyn? What is the obsession? What is the interest? What is your Brooklyn connection? Let's go with that.
Obsession is so accurate. So accurate. So I was born in Brooklyn Hospital, around a little less than 5 years old. My parents got divorced and I moved to Arizona. So I grew up in Arizona. I grew up in Phoenix. I always say that I grew up in Phoenix, but now I visit Scottsdale because I don't have anyone left in Phoenix. But we were this New York family. We were a family from New York. Like I remember my mom was seen as much more assertive than the other mothers. She honked her horns. Our neighbors hated us for that. Like we just did not fit in. like, and my mom was raised by my grandmother who worked at Bergdorf Goodman's for like 40 years. She retired from working for Mr. Goodman. So we were raised in Arizona by these New York women that were like out of place. They were like overdressed and loud, and they were like, they wanted what they wanted. And when the luggage came down the little carrier thing, they like were moving people aside. And it was like, we always just stood out. And in my mind, it was like, well, it's because we're supposed to be in Brooklyn. That's why we're supposed to be back home. So I visited Brooklyn every time I got a chance. Every time I could scrape a couple of coins together, I would visit New York and visit my New York family. And literally the day after I graduated, me, my girlfriend, Baze, my friend James, we were all in the car. We drove from Arizona to New York. I don't know who does that, but when you're young, when you're young and you're broke, you do what you got to do, and that's what we had to do, and we got here.
And so you got to Brooklyn, and
Yeah.
so and obviously that love has turned into this obsession, this passion with Brooklyn.
I mean, I got to Brooklyn and I saw these brownstones, and I called them castles because I didn't know what they were called. And I was just like, how come these people get to live in castles? Like, I want to live in a castle. Like, I don't understand that, you know? And I just loved it. And I moved into an apartment and I was like, no, I want to live in one of those castles. And within 3 months, I moved into one of the biggest sales I've actually ever done. I moved into this home in Bed-Stuy, and I sold it many years later, many years later. But I just loved, one, I loved the diversity, most importantly. And then I just loved the structures. I was just so impressed with the architecture. And I thought living in those homes with those really high ceilings and those multiple floors, it was just so opposite of what I had been raised around, that that was like the goal for me, was to live in one of those big homes and just to know what that was like to live in that community. I just thought it was so great. So I always loved Brooklyn, and I was always an advocate of Brooklyn. And, you know, down the line, I felt like I had this great business idea, and I felt like I purposely wanted to start it in Brooklyn. So Brooklyn could be the birthplace of Polish Bar, and that would put us on the map and tie us to Brooklyn in a way that I felt that Brooklyn was so chic and so cachet, and that people would eventually only want to be a part of anything that was going on in Brooklyn. So it was important for the name of my business even to have Brooklyn in it. So I called it Polish Bar Brooklyn, because where we are now, I always saw that for the community. I always saw that for Brooklyn. I just feel like when you're late and catching on to what the genius is of Brooklyn, that's fine. But Brooklyn has always been so diverse. It's full of creatives. It's full of artists. Like, I remember moving to Brooklyn, and I would be carrying a handbag, and that designer that's in the label would be living down the street. It was like amazing, you know, like I just, you know, seeing like Rosie Perez walking down my street, servicing clients, and like, you know, I still see, you know, Spike Lee randomly in the neighborhood. I mean, those are just things that were like astounding to me. Like, how could you not love that? And I think specifically because they were creatives and actors and writers and editors and publishers, I took such pride in being in that community. So like selling it came very natural because I was already showing it off. I was already the biggest advocate. I mean, when Ryan says I'm the mayor of Brooklyn, it's because if you're trying to have a conversation, you're not including Brooklyn, don't invite Tricia, because she's going to have attitude. Like, that's understood. I'm like, well, what about Brooklyn? Where's the Brooklyn in it? You know, like they're like, here she comes.
I love that. And you know, I've been to Brooklyn, and walking along the streets in front of the brownstones
Mm-hmm.
it is really a magical. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in my head, it's like quintessential. It's ripped from the television screen for me,
Yeah,
because when
yeah.
I think about Brooklyn, and when I was walking down the streets, and the trees and the people, and the vibrancy
Mm-hmm.
of the community is so tangible. It's so
Yes.
it like Brooklyn has a vibe that is tangible.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it, but you can feel it.
You can feel it, you can taste it. It's just it's exactly like, I get goosebumps because that's exactly what I fell in love with, and I had to live here. I had to contribute to it too. Like, I was so proud to create a business and contribute to that. Like, I was so proud to bring something into a community that made my community more of a destination point and more desirable. And I don't know, like it's hard to explain the experience I had kind of like growing up as an adult in Brooklyn, but it was just so surreal, so special, you know, having all of your neighbors and your friends in one community, and having a sense of community. Like, what I love about New York is absolutely Manhattan and everything that Manhattan encompasses, but I get that every single day, and then I get to come home 20 minutes away to a community where if you're on my porch, people are like, hey, she's not there, this is where she's at, you know? Or if uh, anything happens, I'm supported and I'm cared for. I'm safe. I'm thought of. Like we are a true community. Like me and my neighbors, we all went to like a gardening class last summer. Like who does that?
I love it. I love it. So let me ask you a question. Like when was it in your real estate career that you were like, oh yeah, like I've made it. Like this is it right here. Like this was the sale. This was the transaction. This was the moment. This was the point in my real estate career where I was like, oh wait a minute. Like I'm Tricia Lee. I am the mayor of Brooklyn. I am the real estate genius.
I was, that would change. So I had a moment like that recently, and while I was shooting season two, that literally just blew my head off. Like, I don't even, I was like, wait, is this me and I'm in my body? Is this happening to me right now? So you guys will see that, and it's going to be very exciting, but I'm still not over it. I'll tell you that. That really solidified to me like the closing of the full circle, because I don't think anything ever tells us that we've made it. Like when we're ambitious people, you know that the curse that comes with that, right? Is that no such thing, right? So, but I think that a golden moment for me happened in the last 6 months, when pitching a really, really special property. And then strangely, kind of earlier in my career, when my very first landlord of that building that I lived in, that I mentioned to you in Bed-Stuy, it was a stunning 9 unit. I mean, it's the quintessential brownstone. Everyone knows this house on the corner of Bainbridge and Stuyvesant. And when that owner and my previous landlord decided to fire his broker, or actually not hire his broker, but choose to hire me, a very inexperienced agent at the time, to do the sale, I think that it, to me, it solidified everything, because I had known him for so long, and he owned many properties. He was actually the president of our Brooklyn hospital, very well respected businessman here in New York. And for him to trust me to sell such a magnificent, huge property, I mean, the block president called the day the day after the closing, and was like, "Who are you? Like, how'd you get this listing?" And I'm like, I literally used to live here, and when I lived here, I acted like I owned the place, and so it was nothing for him to give me the listing, because when I lived there, I was 22 years old, but I ran that building like it was mine. I I was a tenant, but I was like, listen, if we do this, that'll be better. And they keep coming to check the oil, but no one's here. I can let them in. And he's like, Miss Riley, do you just want to just run this building? And I was like, I would actually prefer it, because I'd love to move my friends in. I lived at that building for 4 years, and by the time I left, every apartment was rented to a friend of mine, and it was run seamlessly because I took ownership of it. I managed everything. Any appointment that was needed for that building, I managed it. So even when I wasn't in real estate, I was in real estate because that always mattered to me. I wanted the building to look really beautiful, and I wanted to operate efficiently. I literally took appointments. Like I was like, oh, the oil man's coming. Oh, the exterminator's coming. Hey, Alex, the exterminator's coming on Tuesday. Make sure you leave your keys out. Like that was me at 22 years old, thinking that I was in charge of something. It was hilarious. So when he decided to sell the building, he's like, you were bossing me around back then. You might as well take the sale. I said, well, that makes perfect sense.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But it was a great opportunity that he chose to give me. He did not have to, but he chose to give me, and it really set my career on fire.
I love that you acknowledge that it wasn't just this, I've made it moment. It was an opportunity, the golden opportunity, the golden moment. And I love, because I think that you're right. I think a lot of times we're like, I've made it. You can kind of sit back and relax and rest on your laurels. And you're like, oh, no, 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 no. It's not that I've made it. This was a golden moment in my career. And I love that.
Yeah, it's like those are the moments I work for, and I'm like, oh, that's great, but I don't get to like get off the ride for that reason. It's just like, oh, that was really great. This makes it all the more worth it. And then, unfortunately, that little goalpost moves a bit.
Yeah, it does. It does. So talk to me a little bit about Money Matters with Tricia Lee, because this is an initiative. This is a platform that you are really using and working to help women. And I love that. I am all about women empowering women. And my audience is actually 74.9% women. And I think that we are here to empower each other, to make each other better, to pull us all up to a place of greatness. So I'd love to hear a little bit about Money Matters with you.
Yeah, sure. And I 100% agree with you. And I also feel that in groups of women, we have the opportunity to share the wealth and to share the knowledge and to be really transparent about that. And if you choose to be, you can make such a huge impact on so many lives. And when I got heavier into real estate, I started meeting different types of clients that worked in different fields. A lot of them worked in finance, a lot of work. I mean, I have a book of clients that are just investors. I was learning so much. I was overwhelmed with it. And then I think I kind of would just like take it and like dish it out at dinners and girlfriend time and like kind of turn the conversation into like real estate and investments and savings and budgeting and finance. And then one of my girlfriends was just like, you need to make this into like a workshop because this is not what this is about. We're here to talk about nail color. I was like, but I'm just so excited. And I started thinking like, I could possibly put this together. The challenge was I had only done beauty events, and my beauty events in my history were like standout events. Like my events used to book out in 10 minutes, having the fire department come because we were over, capacity was the norm. But that's beauty, and that's an easy thing to book for and to get women to like kind of, gather for. I didn't know that I could get women to gather for this topic, finance and specifically financial wellness. And I don't know that I believed that I could, honestly. So I had the idea in my mind for a long time before I pulled it off. And I think eventually someone just kind of pushed me to do it. The idea was really just to take all the things that I was learning and to present it to a group of women and to utilize that as a way to give back to the community. Like I sell and I work in these communities. And when we sell and we work in a community, you come and you take, right? And taking is fine. But
Yeah.
you gotta come and you gotta give too, And so very cognizant of spending in the communities that I sell in and booking things in the communities that I sell in, referring people to things in the community I sell in. And I felt that if I could just make a small little, print in the financial wellness of the women in my specific community, then I thought that that was work that I could really feel good about. And I just didn't know if they'd be interested. The first event I did, I was at my former brokerage. And at the time, my founder was Robert Refkin. I was at Compass, and we had 290 people on a floor that only housed 240 people at that event. I mean, the Robert himself came down and was like, "What is going on?" And he was like, "What a fine looking bunch, but what's going on?" And I'm like, "These women are here to talk about finance." And I would bring in literally people in my friends list. And I would have them talk about, like, my girlfriend that owns many, many homes. I had her explain to the audience of 290 women, how is it that you've come to own 45 homes in 3 different states? How have you done that? And she explained it from the very beginning of college days when she bought her first condo to the last new development that she had done. I had the top Black woman developer in the entire country come and have that conversation. I had clients that started investment funds come and have that conversation. I had Budgetnista come in and speak to the audience about what is it that you can afford? If you make this much money, what can you afford to spend on clothes? General questions that I have. I never knew how much money I could spend on clothes based on how much I made. I know now. So I always say it's nothing that I am good at. I just have access to the people that are good at it. And I bring them together and I provide them to the community. And all I ask of everyone that attends is that you share the information and you share the knowledge. And we as a whole, as women, just feel more comfortable talking money at the tables because the men do it. The men do it all day long. The men literally get together just to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you are empowering women to number one, not just talk about it, but to take action. Yeah, that's really,
And
really.
there were so many topics we weren't comfortable with. And so we learned about insurance and we learned about, you know, structured bonds. We learned about I didn't even have the language for these things before, So to sit in a room with a lot of people that also don't have the language for it and to learn from the experts, you just can't put a price on that. And it's done in a way that's not stuffy. I purposely don't really push it out and promote it that much. So it's hard for you to really find anything about it. Because I don't want it to be a step and repeat moment. I really want it to be a moment where you leave full and you learn something. And you're so inspired that you can't wait to share it with Carol at the desk next tomorrow or to go here. I mean, the emails I get the following day after these events are so great. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much. I didn't even know that I should have had insurance like that. Or people walk into the event and they're like, I inherited this brownstone and I don't know where to start.
I
You
love
know, it's just really, really like there's certain parts of our work that really allow us to feel good. And this is the part of my work that really allows me to feel proud.
I love it. So let me ask
Mhm.
you a question. So what is your like wildest brownstone story? Like, have you walked in on somebody naked? Have you like sold the wrong house? Have you
Oh
like,
God.
I mean, and what are the crazy moments of your real estate career?
I would say the craziest thing. Oh, there's so many though. My goodness, my goodness. There's so many. Like there's stories where I remember I was selling a house and it happened very fast, and one of the children were very upset about it. So he moved his bedroom furniture into the kitchen for the first showing. And I got there and there was like a queen size bed in the kitchen and a nightstand. And I was like, what in the world? And he's like, well, you're the realtor. You take care of it. And I was like, I don't move mattresses. So those are like little funny stories or like the amount of times I've gotten locked on a roof. Not funny, not cute at all. At all. But I think the craziest story I would say about selling anything was I sat through a 5.5 hour closing one time.
Really?
And yeah, that was tough. That was one of the toughest closings I've ever been.
If it
They
was
just
five and
could
a half
not.
hours, there's nobody I like enough to sit 5.5 hours with.
There's no sale, but they literally just they had the same personality and they just couldn't help themselves. That was the toughest sale. The most insane sale was definitely showing a brownstone with it that was so decrepit and decayed and terrible. I mean, just terrible. But you know, that's what's crazy about brownstones. You can remake them and make them. But this one was showing, and the brokers hadn't done anything to prepare the house. There was a dead cat in the living room as I was showing this house, not even kidding you, that had been there for quite a while. And I had to show the house like that. And I sold that house.
Oh my gosh. So no lie. So I went up to New York. I visit up there quite a bit. And a friend of mine took me into a it's a brownstone in the West Village. That's
Hmm.
correct? Okay, a
Yeah.
brownstone in the West Village. It's 4 stories.
Hmm.
And no lie, there is a dead rat,
Hmm.
and the rat was the size of a cat, um,
Exactly. So you never know.
on the stoop. And I was like, and he was like, and I was like, oh goodness, like, don't you think that should be moved? He's like, yeah, nobody's moving that. And I was like, oh goodness, it was just crazy. Like
That's
I
it. That's the New
cannot
York
imagine.
story. That's
I
the New York story.
can't imagine.
I had like a gym plastic bag, like where you put your wet clothes in the gym. So I had that inside of my work bag. So I took it and emptied it out and I like laid the little plastic bag over it just so I could get through my showing. And I was like, this is when I want to say, you all think we do literally nothing for these checks. Where are you when we're doing this?
I will tell you, I had a house, literally, I can almost see it from the window where it's on the other side of the river. And I had this house for sale, and the closing is at 3 o'clock, and it's 1 o'clock. And there is a dead rat in the attic. And they've gone back through, they've done the walkthrough, and the buyer's like, I'm not closing with the dead rat in the attic. And of all the things in this house
Hmm.
that you're not
Right.
going to close over, it's this dead
That.
rat. And my seller's in China. I mean, my seller's in China.
Right.
There's nobody to remove the rat, and nobody can go remove the rat for whatever reason. So I take
Nope.
my happy ass over there, and who
Of
crawls
course.
up? I crawl up the stairs to the attic in my pink flip flops, just like you. I take my plastic bag because every woman has a plastic bag in her car, in her bag, in her pocketbook.
At
I
all
take
times.
I take my pink flip flop with bows. I scoop the rat,
The
put it in
flip
the
flop.
bag, and I'm like, this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a $76,000 rat. Praise the
There you
Lord.
go. Because nothing stands between me and my deal.
That's
Hi.
right.
Every job is my job.
Like, praise the Lord and pass the money. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving.
Exactly. I'm like, every job is my job because nothing is standing in the way of me and my check. Hello.
Every job is my job.
That's
Oh,
what it comes down to. I'm like, no, at the end of it, like, I know you think I just like, pull the Vanna White and go over and turn the letter and then we're done, but that's not what's happening here. As the job changes, I have to shift.
yeah.
Whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I want to write like an expose one day about what it is to be an agent because even in trying to share it on a show, people still think it's like you just do your hair really great and your makeup and you just turn the door and you're like, oh, there's the living room. How that'll be $50,000.
Right, exactly. I'm just here to look pretty and open the door. It's like they have no idea.
I'm a forensic accountant in the streets. I am out here as I am an architect's assistant. I'm a negotiator. I show, I sell, I clean, I decorate. Are you kidding me? It's
You know what?
everything.
You can't get caught up in the minutia of that's not my job. I hear agents every day. Oh, that's not my job. Oh, yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to do that. And I literally, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, I know, no lie. This week, I have this agent, and I bet they've been selling real estate, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 years, relatively successful.
Mm-hmm.
And he says to me, "Oh, yeah, Glennda, that's not my job." And rather than come back, because God knows I wanted to say something sassy straight back,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rather than even wasting my time or my breath, I'm like, you know what? That's not your job.
No
You're
worries.
exactly right. Let's keep moving. And I
Yeah.
went over there. I did whatever needed to be done. Eveline on my team, somebody wants to show the house. The seller's gone. She goes, "Do you mind if I go over there and make up the beds just so it shows better?" And the seller's like, "Oh, I don't want to ask you to do that." She's like, "Look, I'm just here to get the deal done." Sure
The
enough,
job done.
write an offer on the townhouse, praise the Lord, and pass the money. I mean, it's literally like,
Right.
let's just keep moving, because this is the thing. It's like, I don't have time for you to be a diva, because I'm here to,
Right.
yeah,
That's it. And at the end of the day, the close is the close. Whatever it took to get there, we don't even remember,
yeah,
But like at the end of the day, you have to be able to be humble enough to know that every job is your job. Because if you're not of that mindset, there will be something that you can't solve that will stand in the way of you and your closing.
yeah.
And at the end, and my clients are hiring me to shift and move as I need to navigate those spaces. And 90% of what goes on, they don't know because I take care of it.
No,
I take care of it. You don't need to know that I'm a marketing genius. You don't need to know that I decorated your house inspired by something I saw in Architectural Digest 2 years ago. You don't need to know anything. You need to know you got your asking number. That's what you need to know, and you need to know your closing date. I
that's
don't feel that they should have to carry anything else. I feel like it's my job to take it on, and whatever that looks like. And we do everything. I've power washed buildings. Get out of here.
what a refreshing view that that you're not turning back to the homeowner and putting more on their plate. I think agents make a huge mistake when
Mm-hmm.
they turn around and they give the seller this task list. They give the seller this huge list, and rather than just saying, "You know what? Let me and my team take care of that." Let me, because number one, half the time when they do it, it's not the way you want it done.
Or
Number,
need it done.
or need
Like
that.
that it's not gonna what you need, how you need it done in
Yeah.
order to make this pop, especially like because I'm dealing with 150-year-old homes. It's always move, let me do it. like
Yeah.
our team knows. Our team has worked with this type of product. We know what needs to happen and we know what needs to do. And I do need you to feel a huge sense of release because I'm here though. Like I need to know that about the job that I'm doing for you.
So that
You know?
segues us well into. So how long have you been in real estate?
It'll be 10 years, like any day now.
Okay, I love that. I love that.
Next week. Next
And
week will be 10 years.
you're like 200 million, hundreds of millions of dollars into OMS.
350 to be specific, but I also closed several things when I was on vacation last week. So that tally is still changing.
So, so, so you're, I mean, hello, like you are selling a shit ton of real estate.
So
Like,
much. And like not everything is $4 million either. So like the
no.
quantity is insane. Yeah, the quantity is insane. Like a lot of my deals are 1.3, 1.4, 1.8. I mean, I have some things under a million, but I'm not doing this 20 million at a time.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And that, hello, ladies and gentlemen, listen to her. Like when you're out here hustling each deal, like this is not, she sold 350 million in five $50 million deals. Like, come on, give me a break.
No.
So let's kind of walk through that. So like what does a day in your life look like?
Every day is really different in my life. Because one thing I love, and I know you appreciate this too about real estate, is that real estate gets to teeter on this like 9 to 5 corporate financial schedule, and then whenever it chooses to, it can be a freelancer. Like, it definitely has like this personality disorder, which is perfect for me because I'm that way. Like as you said, I'm a creative, but I also will break down a spreadsheet like the back of my hand. So I love that about my business, but I do allow that to give me the pleasure of having like more structured days and more unstructured days. But every day I am managing a minimum of 15 deals, a minimum. And I would say that has doubled since the show. Every day I'm managing those deals and the personalities within those deals. So that's the lawyer, that's the partner, that sometimes can be the dad or the mom, someone that has an opinion. But, every deal represents about 3 different personalities that I'm typically working with. And then the people on the other side of that deal. So me having to keep on top of about 60 different moving parts is the norm. But you do it with the help of people that believe in what you're trying to build and that understand what their role is in that. So I have a great partner, Jeffrey. You've met him. Jeffrey is more than my partner. He trained me in real estate. I got into the business a year and a half after him, and maybe a year after him. And he was already in it, and he had a good footing and knew what he was doing. He'd gotten a couple deals done at that time, and so he started training me. And what I believe that no one really knows about Jeffries is the best trainer. He's the best, most patient, thorough, detailed trainer. So I got a thorough real estate training, and I already had all the other parts of it that you needed to be successful. So learning the transactional work, I just hit the ground running. In my first year, I took advantage of the fact that my beauty business was still open, and I started marketing my brokerage business to my beauty clients. I wrote them a letter and I said, listen, I'm getting ready to change my career and change my life, everything about it. And I want you guys to be a part of it. But I'm changing my job first. And then I'm going to change where I live. And then I'm going to change what I do and how. And like I was changing my wellness time. So I was changing everything at that time. I felt like I needed an overhaul. And the clients loved that. So when I started sharing the brokerage business to the beauty clients, they started booking me for brokerage business. And turns out that when you have businesses in the hottest areas of downtown Brooklyn, in New York, you end up basically knowing all of the most powerful women in the borough. And so my first listing was a brownstone.
Oh my
My
gosh.
second listing was a brownstone.
That
And they came
is,
two they came 2 days apart. Like it just took off. So I sold 21 houses my first year, did 14.7 million my first year. And it's just been on fire ever since. I had 200 million in when I started working with Jeff, and that's when I came here to Sirhan. That was almost 4 years ago.
that is
Um,
amazing.
yeah, and we've just been building and building since.
This little show called Owning Manhattan.
The
Tell me
little
a
show that
little bit
could.
about that. I mean, hello. How has that
Yeah.
changed your life? You are like a standout star on that.
Oh, thank you. That is the weirdest thing about owning Manhattan is it makes perfect sense to me. I'm like, yeah, that would make sense. I should be on this show. My first week in real estate, people in my office were like, "Oh, you're going to be on like some $1 million listing or something." And I'm like, I didn't even know what $1 million listing was. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I started watching it because my best friend is she's either the biggest Ryan fan or maybe my mom is the biggest Ryan fan. So I was like, "Well, let me take a look at this show." And then to me, it just felt like work. And I was like, "This is too stressful. I can't watch you stressing over your deals, and I'm over here stressing over my deals during the real work day." So I couldn't get into it, but I could see what they were saying because I felt like it was the work and then mixed with personality and a little, entertainment. I was here maybe a day before there started being conversations around me being in some form of a show. I think I was here for a full day. But to be honest with you, I don't think I've never been told this, but I think that when I was recruited, I think that they thought I'd be great for the show because my entire interview was a hoot. I was in there just cutting up the whole time, because I didn't need a job. I had a job and I was happy with it. So I came in very much like, what can you do for me? And when I was interviewing with Ryan, I was interviewing with all of them. I interviewed with all the brokerages that week. And I didn't need the job. Didn't even really want the job. I was just trying to see what was out there. So I think that I was in the rarest of forms when I first met Ryan. I really do. I was having one of those days where like, I could take it or leave it. And I think I just, in that meeting, I remember thinking like, yeah, this guy's going to try to put me on TV. I just remember thinking that. And I said that to my mom that night and it didn't really happen. It happened maybe a year later. But it made sense. It really did. I don't know. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a journalist. So I think that that's probably why I'm not surprised by it. And even when I cast, I was probably the first person to go in for casting. And, you don't really know if they like you or not. But I was like, oh, I got that. I knew it. I knew it, Glenda. I don't know why. I was just like, this is mine. I belong here. And everyone that knows me says the same thing. Like whether you're my family, my friend, whether you can be my enemy. And you'd be like, Tricia would make for good TV because she's a mess. And she's very opinionated.
Well, but
She's very opinionated. She's very bossy. She's funny. She has a good time. And she will absolutely tell you what she's thinking, even when you don't ask.
yeah, and you can't be afraid to be bold, and you can't be afraid to be yourself. So I love the fact that you have really found your voice. You found kind of how running your business works really well for you. And I got to tell you, I love to just kind of recap for my audience, like the things that you said that really kind of stuck with me that I starred. I was over here taking copious notes, and three things that you said that I absolutely fell in love with. Every job is my job. I love that mentality. It was a golden moment, not the moment that I thought I'd made it. And know your client, your customer, and your audience.
Yeah.
Those three things right there, I will take those away. I have starred them, I have highlighted them, I have circled them. I cannot wait to share this with my audience. I've got some rapid fire questions that I want to
Yes.
ask you. Are you okay?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, rapid fire. First thing you do every morning.
I thank the Lord that I woke up healthy and not in pain because I do realize that that is a gift.
Absolutely. What's your go-to
Yeah.
power outfit?
Ooh, okay. A semi-crop top, like where it meets the pants, but doesn't crop. Does that make sense? Like it's like there's like you have to like sneeze or do something like that where you could actually see any skin. A high-waisted pant, a blazer, and a shoe I probably can't walk in, but I'm 3 years into Pilates, so there's very few shoes I can't walk in these days.
Oh, wow. And are you a high heel girl?
I'm a 5 inch stiletto girl. I had about a 10-year run of being a 4 inch heel girl, but Pilates has rebuilt my feet to where I could play basketball in a pair of 5 inch heels today if I had to. Like I don't Pilates for the go.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay. One thing every woman should negotiate harder for.
Her time back and her peace.
I love it. Compass versus Zillow. Who's winning the brand war?
Oh my gosh. So why isn't this like a sitcom? I don't know who's winning, but I will say this. I think it's great that the conversation has started, and I think it will shed light on how these platforms not only earn their revenue from agents, but then also create complications for the same agents that they earn their revenue for.
Oh,
So
I
I
love
think
that answer.
no, because you do make things harder and more expensive, but we're also your customer base. It's an interesting setup. And I can't think of another industry where something like this exists. And you also have been genius enough to create a product that we need, and you're not even in our business.
Yeah.
So I'm just watching it, and I'm just curious how this is going to all play out. But this needed to happen. It needed to happen.
100%. I agree with that. AI and real estate, love it or leave it.
Love it.
Dream client, dead or alive.
Dream client. Barack Obama.
Oh, wow. Okay. Cast
I mean, you
member.
said dream. If we're dreaming, I'm dreaming.
I love it, girl. I'm with you. Bring me a little Barack. Okay. Cast member who made you laugh the most on set.
Oh Lord, Jordan Hurt. He's a mess. I don't even think that they capture how hilarious he is. He is so funny. Like your face hurts after you spend a few hours with him. Like you literally want to go like this. Like your face hurts. He that man is so interesting, funny, and wild. He's a wild card. Like the day I met him, I said, "I love your brows. I want you to be my best friend." He said, "Okay, cool."
I'm here to tell you, I had dinner with him in Las Vegas and sat next to him. And I literally, it was like I hit the table seat jackpot. I was the seating
Yes,
chart jackpot.
he's the
Okay.
best.
One behind the scenes moment fans didn't see but should have.
Mm. Oh wow, that's a good one. A behind the scenes moment. Oh, when we got our watches at the Cartier dinner, which was what I renamed that scene, the Cartier dinner. Um, Niall and Jordan and I were such like children at that table that they could not capture the moment because we were carrying on so ridiculously, putting on our watches, being like, I don't think that they could capture it because we were so loud and obnoxious. But I just like, that's not exactly how that happened because we were so badly behaved. Ryan was like, well, it's good to know I can buy your loyalty. I was like, you can always buy my loyalty. Don't be ridiculous. I'll tell you exactly what the price is.
I
But
love it.
they couldn't shoot it because we were so out of control. We were so out of control. Meanwhile, we were sitting there eating like a gold steak or whatever, a steak wrapped in gold. It was already a special dinner and everything. But when those watches came out, honey, that place erupted.
You get a watch, and you get a watch, and you get a watch. I love it. Okay, what can people expect from Owning Manhattan season 2?
Ooh, I think that we pulled back the curtain a lot this year because, like, I mean, if I'm speaking for myself, we were so blessed to have the same production crew. So now I've been with you for 2 years, So, like, I'm sorry, but you're a cousin, whether you like it or not. You're going to see some things maybe you didn't want to see. So there's that part that we really got lucky with. And so I know I was just 100% more comfortable. And unfortunately, the more comfortable you get, you don't really see them. They just disappear. So I think that that makes for better TV. I just do because I'm like, oh, I forgot you were even there. Sorry. That part. And then I also think that because you're more comfortable, you're more open. And like I was more open and I was willing and open to people getting to know my story better. And I think, and I don't, you don't really shoot with everyone, so you don't know, but I felt like my intention this season was to give a better understanding as to who I am, but more importantly, why I am who I am. And I'm proud of that. I don't know what makes the show, but I know that that was my effort was for people to understand. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, like she just kind of came out of nowhere into beauty and got into brokerage and she's like this boss chick. But like, I think that I do a better job this season of explaining to you what drives me. And like, you know, I feel like everyone's running to something or running away from something. I share more about what I'm running away from and I share more about what I'm running to.
I love that. I love that. Well, Tricia, I got to tell you, you have been a bundle of energy. I have
Thank
loved
you.
getting to know you a little bit better. The next time that I'm in New York, I hope that you will save a moment for me. I would even come to Brooklyn to say hello.
All right now. That's a date. It's
I,
all you got to say.
I love it.
And
I
you've
love
been
it.
wonderful because you're such a joy. I've seen you speak a million times. I've definitely been around you a lot, but it just whether we're here or in a room or if you're doing a conversation in the office, like you're consistent. Like you're just consistent across the board. And I'd love to see that because I work to be that way. Like when I came here to work at Sirhan, it wasn't for anything except for the fact that I was really impressed with Ryan. And I was like, I like the way he leads and I like the way he leads with such success. And I want to learn that. I want to learn how to lead with that level of humility and decency and politeness in the midst of being that successful. And I feel that I've taken you in the same way, and I wanted to share that with you as well.
Thank you so much. I will tell you, you would be hard pressed to find a better leader than Ryan Serhant. He is an amazing real estate leader, an amazing person in our industry, and really has set the tone and burned the trail. And I absolutely love watching him and seeing him succeed and him building the people up around him. He has really figured out a way to do that. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here. As I always say, my name is Glennda Baker. I am a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia. Today, we have had the opportunity to get to know Tricia Lee with the Serhant team and owning Manhattan a little bit better. And Tricia, tell everybody where they can find you the easiest.
Absolutely. I am Love Tricia Lee at every handle. So from LinkedIn to TikTok, LoveTriCialee. And I am TriciaLee.com on the web if you need me there, usually at Serhant offices. And you can also catch me on season 2 of Owning Manhattan on Netflix, officially December 5th.
And if you are looking to buy in Brooklyn, there's only one person you need to know. So, Tricia, thank you so much for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, send me a text, tag me in a post, give me a call. That's what I love the most, because I love the opportunity to talk real estate with you today. See ya.